So, during Second Life, I had a couple of notable experiences. The first that I'm going to mention would be it was my second day logging in, and I was trying to get out of the clothes that Second Life gave me. Ended up turning my torso invisible. Was having a really hard time, thought the game was just really buggy, laggy, wasn't too happy. Guy came up and said, right, hey, right, looks like you're having a little bit of an issue, and actually brought me back to his place, showed me how to switch my clothes, and gave me some new clothes to get out of my scrubby new ones, which was pretty cool. Another one would be getting to take part in almost the United Football League on Second Life. It's a full football league. When I was on it so far, it's only been preseason, but I mean, full game, head toss, cheerleaders. Um, right, they got schedules posted online that you can watch. Um, I mean, there's a new ball mechanic, which is kind of cool for Second Life. Right, they kind of switched it up from last season. Now there's less fumbles, and a lot of teams they were saying probably going to have a big issue with it. Um, so I thought that was pretty cool to almost have like a season to season meta game change on a game like Second Life. For me, Second Life is engaging. Um, just things like the UFL League and coming together weekly for a scheduled event where you know your friends are going to be, that's what makes it fun. Another is just the amount of detail, right? The fact that they had a coin toss, the fact there was even penalties in the game. Another example of this would be I went to the NPR museum and they had like just a bunch of full-scale spaceships that you could parachute through. You could design your own rocket and send it off. I also just went up to fly as high as I can to see how far I could parachute because they gave you a parachute when you came in. And there was actually just a little space portal in right. You got to see the Hubble telescope, got to see where astronauts were right now, right, the little spaceship they're in, and just all the planets, and along the way it would give you facts and that kind of thing, right? Stuff like that made by legitimate people just for learning also made it really cool. In regards to social capital theory, you could say the guy giving me the shirt and showing me how to change clothes on the second day kind of was the strength of weak ties, because even though we only had a bridging connection, he kind of was the middleman in me getting the information that I needed to fully enjoy the game. Um, you could also say that, right, just the involvement in communities increases the social capital of the game and everyone in it, right? Sort of thing, joining together on Wednesday nights to play football, or um, right, there was a Blue Jays group, and I know they got together and talked about the games as they happened. I joined the group, but I didn't actually make it to one of the games where they all got together and talked. Um, and it even kind of allows you sometimes to make bonding connections. I know, right? There's people who meet up right after hanging out with these people on the game, right? And that kind of is an interesting aspect. People who have online husbands or wives, kind of thing, where they come and talk about their problems, is another interesting aspect that happens with Second Life. I feel like my offline self shapes who I am online, sort of thing. I kept it to be, right, pretty true to what I would do, right, like sports. So I looked into the sports aspect kind of thing of it. Um, right, space has always been really cool to me. I have a space background that I'm looking at right now. Um, it was just kind of right, doing that stuff that I know I'd like. In that way, it kind of became almost more of a simulation than a game. I'd say I wouldn't call Second Life a game, I don't think. Um, I mean, there's certain instances where it is, right, not real, and right, I can't say that I know how I'd react if I was looking at a dinosaur. Um, though I did try, right, one of the first things I did try to do is go into the more adult area, and right, that this was still with my new clothes, and as soon as right the girls tried to say hi to me and that kind of thing, I realized like what an idiot I look like still in my new clothes. Right, they know I'm just a brand new player, so I ran out of there. I was trying to change, and that's where I actually became invisible. So that kind of compounded it and made it worse. Um, but yeah, I think other than that instance, which right kind of online gave myself to try it out. Um, right. Other than that, I stayed true and kind of it was in sync with who I was for the most part. And the opposite's kind of true for my offline self being shaped by my online self. Right? Like I noticed pretty quickly that right clubs wasn't really feeling it. Right? Just standing around, dancing, doing nothing. And I mean, it's kind of shone through my life recently as well a little. Right? Just standing around waiting for the night to end doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun. And I kind of came to that realization through Second Life. Um, Another one is just communities, right? Like having a good community of people really helps. And I've actually joined a club in the UFC, right, kind of because of that. So that's kind of cool. I did learn a little bit about myself playing Second Life. One thing would be just going with more of an open mind kind of thing. I right when the shirt thing happened, right, it being laggy at the beginning, I had to turn my graphics down a little bit. Um, right, but I thought of Second Life as this place where weirdos went to have virtual sex and that it was all guys kind of thing. But it didn't turn out to be the case, right? There was a lot of cool, interesting things that still go on, even though it is right an older game. I know it hit its peak in probably 2009, but it still seemed to have a pretty active user base, which was cool. Um, I also learned that right, I am who I am. It's I'm not going to fool anyone really. Especially with the voice chat feature, it's hard to. I feel like um, right communities is another point that I wanted to touch on. Again, I feel like I've really been hammering this one home, but right, just people investing more into these things, really giving their all. I feel like if you talk to a person who plays Second Life daily, that they would also agree that this isn't really a game for them either. It's a place they go to hang out with friends, and that's how I view it now as well.